is Liz Snyder from Hillside Garden and Landscaping, and today we're going to be answering some viewer questions that were sent in. So the first question that I have for you, Liz, my hydrangeas still have last year's flowers on them. Can I prune them now?
Now is the perfect time to be pruning spent flowers off the hydrangeas, but I want to just make sure, there's many different types of hydrangeas. And the two most common in our area are either going to be what we call Hydrangea Macrophylla, which typically have the nice big round, usually blue or pink flowers. Those types of hydrangea, they bloom on some old wood, which is going to come from the bottom third of the plant, but they're also going to produce a big flush of new growth every season, and that is also going to have some flowers on it. So for Macrophylla hydrangea, this time of year you want to clip off any old dried flowers that are on there, and you want to prune that shrub back about half or so, but don't go any lower than that, because on some of those lower branches of that last year's old wood, you're going to get some leaves that are coming from that too. Within a few weeks, you'll start to see some leaves that push off of those stems, and if you need to trim them down additionally a few inches to that point where that first leaf comes out, you can go ahead and do that. The other type of hydrangea that's been very popular in recent years is paniculata hydrangeas, and the easiest way to kind of tell, if you have that type is those flowers, instead of being round, they're usually more of a triangular or kind of cone shape, and they always bloom off of old ones. You're not going to get new growth from the bottom every year like you do with macrophylla. So again, with those you can trim just below where the dried flower is, or typically for those types of hydrangeas or many flowering shrubs, you could prune them back about a third and kind of every other season thin them out about a third. But those are always going to have flowers that come from that old growth, not from the bottom. So yes, this is the perfect time of year to do that before that new growth resumes.
Gotcha. Okay. Moving on to question number 2. Someone told me my boxwood has spider mites. What should I be looking for, and should I be treating them?
This time of year, is when we see a lot of spider mite issues, and what that shows up looking like is on the surface of the leaves, you'll see little tiny white pinpricks, and we call that stippling. It's just a light discoloration, and with the cool season mite is what a spider mite is. So they come out in the early spring, and then again, usually they're very active in the fall. So what you want to do, a good way to see if it is, spider mites that you have, is you could look up, online, and Cornell's got a great resource to see if the damage you're seeing looks like that. Or you can take a plain white piece of paper, and you can put that kind of into the shrub and just kind of tap the shrub, and you'll be able to see on the piece of paper if there's little, mites crawling around there. You do want to treat it when the weather is cool. So for spider mites, you're going to use an insecticidal soap, which is a really mild. You can get it as ready to use, or we can offer it as a treatment. You can give us a call. And you're just going to spray that on the shrub when it's cool, and till it's just dripping, it'll dry on there, and that'll take care of that. And then again, you'd want to do that in the fall usually if you have the issue. You don't need to be treating. You want to make sure you're not treating if you don't have the insect.
Yeah.
But another thing that we're seeing a lot of in our travels right now is Boxwood Leafminer, which looks very different. It's going to be bigger, rounder kind of spots on the leaves, and then it look like blisters. And you can open those up, and there'll be a little tiny white, insect in there. That also sucks, the juice out of the leaves, and is an issue this time of year as well. For that, you want to use something that's got a product that has an active ingredient that's imidacloprid, which is going to be as a soil drench. So you mix that with water usually and pour that at the base of the plant. It's going to go down into the soil. The plant will take that up through its roots, and then you can treat the insect that way. So those are the two most common things that we're seeing with boxwood insects this time of year.
Gotcha. Thank you so much, Liz. We appreciate you answering these questions for us today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm Liz Snyder, your home gardener from Hillside Garden Landscaping.
You can watch Home Gardener every week only on Around the Tiers. And for today's segment and to find out more, head to WBNG.com, click on Around the Tiers, and select Home Gardener from the drop-down menu. If you have any home gardening questions you want answered, send them to liz@hillsidegl.com. Thanks for watching a shortened edition of Around the Tiers. Stay tuned, we'll have a final check of your weather, and 12 News at Noon wraps up next.
This has been Around the Tiers.